Kid Icarus Uprising is an absolute masterpiece. You already saw it in the title of the video. It's a shame that not many people have played this game and that it's only on the 3DS. This game is the third game of the Kid Icarus franchise, which started on the NES era when the first game came out. It was created by Nintendo employee Toru Osawa and was inspired by Greek mythology. One problem is that it was just him, and he only had 9 months to make the game. So after 5 months, he only had the movement of the protagonist Pit. So to make it possible for them to complete the game, in December came the team that created the newly released game Metroid.
Please give me a break. I just finished Metroid.
Nah, you know what? You're not getting a break this time. Do you know why? We need to finish our next game, Kid Icarus, because we might need to finish it, because why not? We can't just let it not be finished. So you are not getting a break. You are going to right to the next thing, Kid Icarus. Also, you can't leave the building because you need to be doing this all 24 hours a day and 8 days a week.
What the hell? At least I still have the air conditioning.
You know what? I'll be taking you away from your bed because that's inefficient. Not only that, but I'm actually going to have to take away your air conditioning so I can save money. And also, here's your bed down there. Here's your bed. Have a good sleep for the next 3 months while you're in this project. And by the power of the brutal East Asian work culture and sleeping in offices with cardboard boxes with little to no air conditioning during the winter, they were able to get the game out on time. And I'm gonna be brutally honest, the first Kid Icarus game is forgive me, it's absurdly difficult, and it's very easy for you to fall into a pit and die. Well, after the second Kid Icarus game came out called Kid Icarus Myths and Monsters, I'm going to tell you guys now that I never actually played that game, but if it comes out on the Switch Online membership, I might play it. It's better than the first game, and I just don't know because, again, I've never played it. This game is mentioned very little, so many people actually say that it's not canon, actually. Well, after those two games, Kid Icarus lost its relevance, being forgotten by Nintendo with only a few references. Pit appeared in Smash Melee as a trophy, but what the heck is that? Hey, but 7 years later, after Smash Melee, came Brawl for the Wii, where Pit came into Smash Bros. As a new character, a playable character this time. He had a new design, much better than what was in Smash Melee. He is one of the characters that's unlocked from the start, and he actually has a good part in the story mode, as Mario's main companion being the one to save him in the beginning of the Subspace Emissary.
Ahora que he vencido a Zelda, por fin puedo decir la palabra con N. ¡No, Mario, no lo digas! ¡Eso está mal! Ayúdame, Pete, y podrás decir la palabra con N. ¡No me vencerás, Link! ¡Esta es mi única oportunidad para decir la palabra con N! ¡Pero, Pete, eso está mal!
With Pit's presence in Smash Brawl, Kid Icarus had a little more relevance. When the creator of Smash Bros., Masahiro Sakurai, was asked by Nintendo to make a game for the 3DS, he decided to make a new Kid Icarus game called Kid Icarus Uprising. And my guy, I'm gonna tell you everything about this amazing game. Pause this video, get some popcorn and water so I can explain this truly epic experience to you guys. It all starts with the controls. You have the goddess Palutena talking to you about how to control the game. And you control with the L button to shoot, the circle pad to move, and the touchscreen to aim and move the camera. I think you can see the issues with this. It probably hurts for some people, physically. And that's the reason why the game, if you bought it physically, comes with a stand. Me personally, I actually don't have a problem with the controls of the game. Would have I preferred having a second stick? Absolutely. Like most people, like every sane person on this planet, I would have absolutely preferred to have a second stick. But it's just that the 3DS doesn't have a second stick. So I think what they did here, I think it was actually a pretty good workaround for not having a second stick. And yeah, also if you're left-handed, yeah, you're pretty screwed if you're left-handed. Let's have a moment to pay our respects to left-handed people. Alright, now it's time to play the game. We start with Pit's return after 25 years without a Kid Icarus game. And here you're flying in the air. I'm going to explain something about the game. There are two types of sections, the flying sections and the ground sections. In the flying sections, you're controlled by Palutena, who gives you the power to fly for 5 minutes to start each level. But why does she have to control you? Well, basically, you have to get to where the objective is in 5 minutes, because if you fly for 5 minutes, Pit will burn. He will literally burn. In these sections, what you do is you dodge and shoot enemies. Already as they show in the first flying section of the game. And then you'll see the antagonist of the first Kid Icarus game has come back to life after 25 years. Not only that, but you're already seeing that the gameplay is not interrupted by the story. Having a second screen is something really good, because we could see some of the drawings of the characters present, and they made YouTube shorts before it was cool. For example, the protagonist Pit, who has much more personality than protagonists in other Nintendo games. Yeah, I mean, protagonists in other Nintendo games do have personality, but their personalities can basically be explained in just one word, like Mario being basic, Luigi is timid, Wario is greedy, etc. But someone like Pit has a lot more depth. We can see him being determined, we can see him being in a funny mood, and I had to put the reference. Well, for my descriptions, I think you already know that I like the story of the game. When I'm playing a video game, I'm going to tell you guys here that a good story is not exactly something that I look for. If I want to see a good story, I'll probably watch a movie instead.
The question is, how do I control it? I swear. It's morbid time. He said the lie!
However, there's nothing wrong with having a good story in a video game. In fact, that's something that I really like. Like, you're not gonna lose points for not really having a story, but someone's only gonna gain points if they have a good story. And like, I like myself a good story in a video game, but it's just not something that I actively look for. And okay, you guys already know that I love this game. Well, we return to the gameplay, and here they explain that the antagonist Medusa has been revived and is now terrorizing the world with the Underworld Army. Yes, Pit now has to defeat the Underworld Army to save a town that is being attacked. And in the Colosseum, they have a fire dog as the boss of the first level called Twin Bellows. And you have to defeat it to save this town. Yes, this is how I'm going to be explaining the game. Well, we already entered the menu here, with other things that we can do, such as donate hearts to Palutena, and she will come closer, like what Sims do to Twitch streamers. There's also AR cards. I don't have them because I only bought the cartridge, but at least I can use them with my phone. And not only that, but there's also an online mode. Let's play the online mode. Oh. Well, at least we have mods that could help us play online. Heh. No one can stop me. Wait. What is that? The online mode is very fun, and there are two modes. One of them is a battle royale where you are competing for most kills against the other people present. And the other one is light versus darkness, where there are two teams with 3 angels. And each time one of the teammates die, the team's life bar is lowered, and the teammate that just died will respawn. And the amount it will be lowered by depends on the power of the weapon that they have until it reaches 0. In this case, Pit or Dark Pit will replace the last angel who died and will come with a very powerful weapon. The winner of that team that can protect either Pit or Dark Pit until Pit or Dark Pit is defeated. We'll talk more about Dark Pit later. And right now, we're going to talk a bit more about the weapons in this game. Basically, you unlock weapons when you are playing the game, and there are many weapons to choose from, as Masahiro Sakurai has historically been a guy who likes to give people options for ways they like to play. I'm not going to explain them all because this video would be way too long if I explained every single weapon, but basically, it's all up to you. If you want to hit hard, you want to run fast, you want to have good shots, it's all your decision. And now, before we get back to the story, we're gonna have spoilers for basically the entire game. The game right now basically costs a kidney, so I'm pretty sure most of the people watching this video could probably watch it knowing that they're probably never going to play Kid Icarus Uprising, so you might as well be fine with it. However, if you're crazy enough to buy it, or if you're gonna pirate it or something like that, and I'm gonna be the one to say it here, like, considering that the game is not supported, you could go ahead and pirate it. It's fine by me. It's fine by me. You have my sign of approval to pirate it, considering it's not supported anymore, and it would be really good to have it preserved. So if you want to pirate it and play Kid Icarus Uprising, but before finishing this video, go ahead. Anyway, so if you either want to buy it or pirate it, now is your time to leave the video. And for the rest of you who are not going to play the game, or if you already have played the game, stay right here and let's go. And here, beginning the second chapter, you can see the difficulty slider. And yes, this actually originated here and not in Smash Bros. Well, the chapter starts with a flying section where they explain that Pit has to go to the castle of Medusa's newest commander, being Gal. And you see an army of people in battle against the underworld. And we want to help them, but unfortunately the power of flight only lasts 5 minutes, so Pit has to go directly to Gal's castle. In this castle, we find someone named Magnus, and my guy, for a human, he's pretty strong for a human. What the heck? Not only that, but we also have this scene.
I'm sensing treasure somewhere to your left.
How do you know that?
From the heavens, I can see through your laurel crown to divine your surroundings.
Really? That's amazing!
And that's not all I can see, Pit. I can also see what's in your heart.
Oh! That's really something.
So you'd better not be thinking about anything naughty.
What? How did you...
Just kidding. Seriously? Reading hearts through laurel crowns?
I know. I was also kidding.
Sure you were.
At the end of the chapter, you have a battle against Gal, where you are with Magnus by your side, and it's also revealed that Magnus and Gal actually knew each other. When you defeat Gal, it's revealed that she's a woman! In the third chapter, we continue with the underworld armor terrorizing the people, and the new commander for this chapter is a dragon that was one of the bosses in the first game, being Huge Raw. a dragon with 3 heads that you fight in the air section. And when you defeat it, you now have to protect the town from the destruction of 2 loose Hydra heads, one of them that is ravaging the town and the other one that is trying to recover its body in a lake. The priority for now is to protect the town from the decapitated head, because that one's the one that is trying to attack everyone at the town. Thankfully, the one at the lake needs more time to recover its body. After the battle against the underworld army and the battle against the decapitated head, Pit finds the lake where the last head was, and it looks like it now has recovered its body. But thankfully, we're able to defeat him. In the 4th chapter, Palutena says that the next objective is to defeat the goddess of Pandora and destroy the Mirror of Truth, which basically makes clones of the underworld army. So they can have an infinite army. So they have to destroy the mirror, but we can't dox Pandora because of the Reapers that are basically deaths. And we're not Sniper Wolf, so we can't exactly dox someone like that. Well, Pit flies over the Valley of the Reapers and enters the fortress of the Reapers, ramming himself onto the door. Something strange is that there's not actually many Reapers present in their own fortress. And the thing is, what's actually happening is that the Reapers are soul harvesters, being the underworld army is basically killing a lot of people. And Palutena actually has remorse for her actions due to the conflicts that keep escalating with Medusa. That obviously, between all the conflicts that the gods have, the humans do end up getting caught in between them. It arrives at the boss chamber. They find a Reaper, and it becomes big, and Pit has to fight this beast. When Pit defeats him by shooting the toes and its head, it is revealed that although Pit almost died, he likes Palutena's presence, showing how sincerely they actually feel about each other. With the Great Reaper defeated, now Palutena can now dox Pandora, and they find the Labyrinth of Deceit, with many allusions to deceive, of course. But we are here to defeat Pandora and destroy the Mirror of Truth. After reaching the Labyrinth with many deceptions in the flight, and arriving to Pandora with many illusions along this whole labyrinth, we have a battle against Pandora where she reveals the Mirror of Truth. Pit, having to complete his mission, destroys it. But when he destroys it, a dark clone comes out of the mirror, being none other than a clone of Pit himself, being Dark Pit. Anyway, Pandora creates Dark Pit to help defeat Pit. But Dark Pit decides that he ain't doing that, and he's a true Sigma, and he hits Pandora. He decides to help Pit defeat Pandora, and when Pandora is defeated, Dark Pit decides to betray Pit and take what remains of Pandora. Yes, Pandora's corpse is living on Dark Pit's wings. But with this, Dark Pit can now fly indefinitely without the danger of being burned. This is the chapter of Dark Pit himself, and oh yes, the best thing about this is that the main instrument of the song, although it has a Greek beat, is a flamenco guitar. Oh yes, it's been a while since the last time I made this reference.
¡Viva España, carajo! ¡Viva España! ¡Viva España! ¡Viva España! ¡Viva España! ¡Vamos! ¡Viva España, carajo! ¡Viva España!
Ahí está. Muchas gracias para mi tío por poder encontrar esta bandera de España en Cataluña. Yo sé que esto será muy difícil encontrar esto en Cataluña. Muchas gracias, tío. Muchísimas gracias. Anyway, in the air battle, there's a fight between Pit and Dark Pit. Palutena classifies him as a danger because the guy is kind of destructive and says that he must actually be eliminated. Not only that, but the underworld army also arrives, and with the Mirror of Truth destroyed, we should see that the underworld army is running out of monsters, but it doesn't actually look like that's happening, mysteriously. Something about Dark Pit is that although he's like an evil Pit, he's not loyal to Medusa in the way that Pit is loyal to Palutena. He is his own boss, so Medusa is actually also against Dark Pit. And that is why when Pit arrives to the ground section, he can actually follow the underworld army, knowing that they're also trying to chase Pit too. Yes, I'm gonna call him that for the rest of the video. But after 2 battles, and one that he might actually be no-scoping you, Pit fights against his evil clone for one last time. And in this boss fight, Pit defeats Pit 2 and he escapes. However, Palutena decides that they should go back to their main objective of defeating the underworld army. In the next chapter, Pit and Palutena return to the goal of defeating Medusa. For that, they have to defeat the god of death, Thanatos. Did you know that Thanatos means death in Greek? Anyway, Pit here is in a desert, and the temple where Thanatos is actually underwater, so Palutena activates a secret power to split the water. No, I lied, that wasn't actually Palutena, that was actually the god Poseidon who did that. And this actually shows a really good function of the 3DS here, with the second screen here, because without it, we would actually probably not know what Poseidon actually looks like. And one more thing, bro thinks he's Moses. My guy, you are not Moses. You are not Moses. Do not pretend to be Moses. Anyway, after that, Pit arrives to the underwater temple, and the usual thing happens where they fight against the underworld army. And then after that, we make it to the boss room where Thanatos is, who is the highest commander of Medusa. And for that, he has the key to the underworld, and Pit has to defeat the multiple forms of Thanos, such as a bat, swords, a matryoshka, and a foot. After all that, Pit defeats Thanatos, and now he has the key to the underworld. There's one thing that we seem to be forgetting, and it's the 3 sacred treasures from the first game that Pit used to defeat Medusa for the first time. So Pit flies to space to fight some space pirates, and they stole the 3 sacred treasures. So Pit has to fly to their ship to get the treasures and enters, crashing into the wall again. This guy is immortal right here. He's immortal. He literally can't die. We enter the ship to fight against the space pirates, and the underworld army also comes in. Maybe they also want the treasures. Well, after all this craziness, we find the captain, and suddenly he's actually eaten by a kraken. What the f even is this game? Pit has a battle against the kraken where he attacks the tentacles and then the head. And after defeating the kraken, Pit finds the 3 sacred treasures, being the Mirror, the Icarus, and the Pegasus. So, one last observation about this chapter is that the music in this chapter is actually really similar to this one piece of music that is in Kirby Air Ride. And I feel like I'm the only person that has brought this up, and I have not heard anyone else mention this. Just take a listen. With the 3 sacred treasures, Pit is ready to defeat the Medusa and enter the underworld with the key. We go and we see Dark Pit himself, who also appears to want to fight the army of the underworld. The light arrows at this level are extremely powerful, my guy. They're a lot of fun to use, and they absolutely destroy the entire underworld army. And there's also a guard that for some reason cannot be defeated. That's what I would say, but all of a sudden, Dark Pit arrives and destroys it with a kick to the head. And now Pit can enter the underworld castle, where it starts with 3 past bosses being Twin Bellows, the Huge Raw, and Pandora. However, they are not the only copies, but also copies from the previous levels that look a bit differently, as, well, these aren't exactly them, they're just kind of made to act kind of similar. Well, when you defeat the 3 bosses, we are now ready to go in and defeat Medusa with the power of friendship. Okay. Interestingly, when we are going in to defeat Medusa, it is actually revealed that she has no idea how she ended up getting revived, which, that's pretty strange. But when we defeat the last defenses remaining, we enter the battle against Medusa to end this all. With the Pegasus wings, Pit can fly during the battle, and they are necessary to use, obviously, because Medusa makes sure Pit is as far away as possible. However, Pit gets closer to Medusa and shoots the light arrows at her. And Palutena has the power to make sure Medusa does not move. And with enough damage, she turns into this monster form where her head gets detached from the rest of her body and has its own battle against Pit. In the end, we defeat Medusa and save the world. Well, before finishing this video, there's one last thing I wanted to mention. That being the Kid Icarus anime that came out about this time. One of the episodes is about the events before the first Kid Icarus. One of is Palutena's revolting dinner, where she has to fight against the dinner. Yes, I know it sounds a bit strange, but trust me guys, I think this one is actually the best one out of the 3. And the third one is a fight between Pit and Thanatos. I'm not going to talk much about them, since you can watch them after you're done with this video. But me personally, I feel like they represent the characters pretty well. So if you want to be more familiarized with the series, I have a link in the description so you can watch them. With all that said and done, the video ends here, and I think this will be my best video of the year. Considering that it's my last video of the year, I think this is the best way to end the year of 2024 on my channel. With all that said and done, Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, of course, and have a happy new what? Oh, what do you say? I haven't completed the game. How many chapters are left? 16? Well, hey, we'll continue with Kid Icarus Uprising. Yeah. Yes, guys, in the end, we are not finished. The true antagonist, Hades, is revealed, and says that what he is about to do is much worse than what has been happening when we were against Medusa. And not only that, but he is actually the one that decided to revive Medusa to start this whole massacre. His first objective is related to a seed that gives a wish to anyone who has it. This seed is in a volcanic area and the underworld arrives. And I don't think they're gonna do anything good with this. The underworld army tries to fight the Phoenix, but they're being absolutely destroyed. Hades says that he actually plans to use the wish seed to revive the parents of a girl. Maybe he's not so evil, right? Right? No. he killed the parents of the girl. And yeah, the wish sheet is a fake. It cannot fulfill wishes. It's not real. Though I worked for the wish sheet, it's a fraud. And so what's about to happen is that Hades plans to use it to deceive the humans by defeating the Phoenix, so to say that someone has it, so that all the humans kill anyone they see. We are a greedy species, not gonna lie, but they can also decide to free the Phoenix and have the Phoenix kill all the humans. So now Pit actually has no other option but to actually no-scope the Phoenix. When Pit finds the Phoenix, he already knows what to do. You have to kill the Phoenix. Even though the Phoenix is big, it's actually kind of difficult to shoot because it moves around a lot. When Pit kills the Phoenix, it leaves a beacon that tells everyone that the Phoenix is dead. And Hades gives the humans enough of a push for them to all start killing each other, and the massacre begins. In the next chapter, Pit and Palutena, after the beginning of the massacre that Hades started, we now have to finish off the underworld army. And in the background, we can still see all the people at war against each other, and it just cannot get worse for the human race. Wait. Is that a reset bomb? What the And who did that? It's none other than the goddess in nature, Viridi, also known as Chopscotch from Skylanders. Well, basically, this bomb causes the area of the explosion to return to its natural state. Basically, without humans and without what humans are doing. So obviously, Palutena and Pit do not like this. So they have a new enemy, being Viridi and the forces of nature. Viridi decides to send the boss of the level to where Pit is and knocks him out to the explosion area. And he has to fight against the forces of nature, and we can also save some of the people who actually survived this explosion. The boss of this level is Kragalange, and it's a rock with a weak spot in it. Pit defeats Kragalange, and then Viridi comes to say that they are about to launch in another nature nuke. In the next chapter, Viridi decides to launch another nature nuke. Not only that, but the underworld army decided that they're also going to be involved in this. Hades decides to join the conflict because of all the chaos that's going on. But Viridi, because she hates the underworld army because they are very destructive, and she believes that they're worse than humans. Anyway, Pit finds the nature nuke and shoots certain parts so that we can save all the humans that are present here. Pit was able to destroy the nature nuke and prevent it from detonating. And then he makes it to the depot where the forces of nature make their bombs. Here, Pit is fighting against the forces of nature and also the underworld army, and we can also see them fighting each other too. When this is all happening, we can get to the place where they create the nature nuke so we can stop them forever. We have to push these guards that are defending the reset bomb pod so that we can remove this layer. When it is all over, we destroy the bomb pod and it explodes, and thankfully Pit can leave in time, but however, Viridi decides that Pit is number one for people to kill. Alright, this chapter right here starts with an absolute banger.
Again today I will go soaring through the sky. My enemies, I'll dish them up and us to fry. Gracious goddess of light, watches from up above. At dinner time I always show the cooks some love. Even
though Viridi no longer produces the nature nukes, we still have one fight against the forces of nature. And it seems that in the sky, there are two moons. Just like right now when I'm recording this video. But anyway, however, this is different because the moon in this one is actually pretty big and it starts shooting at us for some reason. And I have to tell you, this is much worse than the nature nukes. And this place is highly defended by the guards and all the weapons at all the sides. And this place is actually called the Lunar Sanctum. And the guy who controls it is this guy named Arlon. Being loyal to Viridi, we have to no-scope him, because the Lunar Sanctum is something that is quite powerful, and we don't actually know much about its purpose, because Arlon has many secrets here, and it doesn't seem like he wants to attack us, and he only wants to defend the Lunar Sanctum. However, Pit can enter after all of these shots through a vent, like the imposter from Among Us. When Pit enters, Arlon has to defend the Lunar Sanctum from inside. We can see the forces of nature attacking us, some holographic enemies, and also some of trickery. But thankfully Palutena is able to help us by infiltrating the Sanctum's control core to help us against Arlon. With all of this, Pit eventually arrives to the control center of the Lunar Sanctum, and the one who defends him is none other than Teto. Although Teto is not actually loyal to anyone, he decides to help Arlon with defenses. Why did he do that? He wanted to fight Pit. That's exactly why he wanted to do that. That's actually the only reason. Anyway, even though Teto says that he's quite literally like a true Sigma, while Pit is a beta male, we are able to defeat him for the 4th time in this game. And we also destroy the control center. After that, we go to a place where it's kind of like the moon to fight against the defenses, and then return inside to defeat Arlon in a battle where he sometimes throws some certain powers at us and also turns off the lights. After we defeat Arlon, we destroy the Lunar Sanctum, and without him it cannot function and it all falls apart. And also this one thing comes out. Maybe it might be important later. I'm not sure. Now comes the next chapter where there's a battle between the forces of nature and the Underworld Army. The Underworld Army is being commanded by the newly revived Thanatos. Yes, he returns right here. The forces of nature are being commanded by the new character, Phosphora, the goddess of electricity. During the air section, Phosphora and Thanatos are actually fighting each other, while Pit is having to fight against the two armies. After a bit of more beating up both the Underworld Army and forces of nature, Phosphora defeats Thanatos and attempts to escape to the temple to recharge her power. And Pit takes advantage of Phosphora's less OP state because she's less charged. Go into this one storm where Pit arrives at the lightning temple where Phosphora is, and it turns out that she's taking over the temple and defending it from Pit with the lightning powers. And she also happens to flirt with Pit. Wait. How old are they?
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home.
Anyway, when we pass through the temple, we end up finding Phosphora in the boss chamber, and then we fight her. Obviously, she uses her electricity attacks in this temple powered by her powers. When we defeat Phosphora, she is extracted by Viridi, and without her power, the temple that she occupied at the moment, it all falls apart. And then Pit says that he is now coming for Viridi. Now in this next chapter, it seems that this sussy species is invading Earth. Palutena does not like this because of the destruction that happens, and Viridi also doesn't like this because of the destruction that happens. Oh, and Hades likes destruction, but he wants to be the evil one at Earth. So that's why Palutena, Viridi, and Hades decide that they must team up to destroy these things. And it turns out that someone who's actually an expert of these species of aliens is a new character called Pyron, the god in quotation marks of the sun. He turns out he's actually like not really a god, but calls himself a god. I guess anyone in this universe could just come in and then declare themselves a god. So that's surely interesting. Well, anyway, it turns out that the Arum actually go to areas of conflict, which is probably why they invaded the Earth, because of all the whole war that was going on between Pit, the forces of nature, and the underworld. It turns out that this right here is actually only one of the bases of the Aurum, and Pit arrives at the base seeing that they're all very futuristic with all that's going on. The Aurum are kind of like bees, being very organized, and after fighting against some of them and passing through their defenses, Pit makes it to the Aurum core that is defended by this wall. And not only that, but it can also create its own gravity. After Pit destroys the Aurum core, the base gets destroyed and Pyron takes us out of there. In the next chapter, the objective is to destroy the Aurum fleet. The good thing is that all of these ships have weak points thanks to Palutena. In the air battle, you are fighting against the Aurum. In one of the ships, Hades sends the underworld army to hijack one of the ships. Not only that, but it turns out the Aurum also learned how to copy the underworld army and also the forces of nature. When they arrive at the Aurum hive, there is no entrance, but Hades, with the ship that he captured with the underworld army, collides with the exit so that Pit can enter through the ship. And then when he enters into the Aurum hive to fight the Aurum through inside, we also get the famous line that comes out in this chapter right here.
More ice cream gives you health.
He said the line. He said the line right there. He said the line. He said it right there. He said it right there. He said the line. Oh yeah, it also turns out that Viridi sends some of the forces of nature to help out Pit right here, because it's in her interest to leave him alive for now, actually. After battling the Aurum some more, you reach the Aurum hive power generator. Some of the rails are actually better depending on which weapon you are using. Oh, and Pyron also arrives, but he actually activates the defenses, and now there's these walls. After all those shots, Pit destroys the Aurum generator to destroy the Aurum hive and its fleet. Now comes the time to put an end to the Aurum once and for all. Here we are fighting against the Aurum one last time, and we have to fight against the defenses of the Aurum fortress. With the help of the forces of the underworld army and also Pyron, Pit enters the Aurum fortress to fight the last of the defenses of the Aurum, until we make it to the Aurum brain, shooting it to finish off the Aurum. But suddenly Pyron decides to collide with the brain. Out of this sudden moment, Palutena decides to take Pit out of this place so that he doesn't die. And it turns out that the Aurum have actually turned red and are being controlled by Pyron. But Viridi, thankfully, has one last nature nuke and uses it against the fortress. It does nothing. It doesn't do anything. The nature nuke doesn't do anything. So then Palutena tries to take Pit out of the battle, but Pyron is actually blocking the extraction power, and the 5 minutes of flight that Pit has are over, so Pit actually falls and says another iconic line.
I never learned how to read!
Yeah, guys, Pit is illiterate. The good thing is that Viridi brings her forces to Pit to give a platform to continue the battle. The platform is way too small to battle, so Viridi decides to give Pit a bigger one so that we can dodge the Aurum attacks. These ships decide to trap us. We are able to escape and find a new entrance because the one where we entered in through the first time is on fire. But all of a sudden, Pyron decides to shoot us from the inside. However, Pit is able to survive that. However, the 4 members of the forces of nature do not survive that. F in the chat. F in the chat, boys. F in the chat. The good thing is that Palutena is able to send her own army in, the Centurions, to help Pit with this battle and lead him to Pyron. Pit has to protect the Centurions who are carrying the platform. After entering the fortress, we have to fight more of the Aurum, and Pit actually notices that Pyron actually sounds a bit weirder than usual. Well, we enter the battle with Pyron saying kill in binary, and it actually turns out that Pyron was not the one controlling the Aurum, but the Aurum were actually controlling him, and they were just being buffed. So in the Aurum brain, we have to destroy the shield of the Aurum brain. So when in this battle, we have to destroy the shield of the Aurum brain, and then we have to start shooting it so that we can end off the Aurum. And then after the battle, the two Centurions that were carrying us help us escape from there, and Pyron pushes the Aurum to the other corner of the universe. And now it's time to defeat the true enemy, Hades. In the next chapter, Pit notices that he woke up as a ring, and he cannot control himself. And the name Chaos King is stuck in his mind. Out of nowhere, this girl comes out and puts on the ring. But what are you doing here? Where are your parents? Wait a minute. That wish Hades made. Oh, he was the that killed her parents. Well, the girl puts on the ring, and now Pit is controlling her body, and then walks a little until she falls and loses the ring. But then the dog grabs it, and now Pit controls the dog and runs to the town and notices that he is actually flying around shooting something. After running a little more with the dog, you can see his friend Magnus from the second chapter, and he's fighting the Centurions for some reason. Pit jumps on Magnus, who he wants to put on the ring, but Magnus throws it to the ground, but then grabs it and then puts it back on. And now Magnus is confused why Pit is in his body and not his own body. But we don't know why, because Magnus actually tells us that we actually skipped 3 whole years since we first met him. And yeah, we can actually communicate through the mind. And yes, 3 whole years is what I said, which is actually more time than what I did since I first announced that I was making this video, which was 2 years ago. Take that, Kid Icarus Uprising, I win! Well, it turns out that Palutena's help against the underworld army has suddenly disappeared, leaving Hades to attack the humans with nothing against him. But eventually, sometime later, Palutena returned, and instead of helping the humans, she sent the Centurions to attack the humans. But she continues to fight against the underworld army. After fighting against the Centurions and also the underworld army, we reach where Pit's body is, and in this battle, Pit's body takes advantage of Magnus not being able to do ranged attacks and can move away. However, this battle is pretty simple with Pit using his bow, and we can also knock him down to the ground. When we defeat Pit's body, Magnus puts the ring on Pit and returns his soul, and then Pit asks Palutena to give him the power to fly and take him back. And then he flies into the air, but here's something strange. There are leaves right there, and the power of flight has a different sound, and his wings are a different color. And while this happens, it's revealed that Palutena isn't actually the one giving Pit the power to fly, but it's actually none other than Viridi. And she's actually less busy with destroying the humans now because Palutena and Hades are doing that for her. So she decides to send it to Skyworld to see Palutena. And we see that everything is in ruins. And Palutena appears saying that she is pissed off at the humans for being ungrateful. Then Pit asks Viridi to let him in, but there's a shield. So we end up flying away, and then Viridi extracts us from there. Now in this next chapter, Pit flies away fighting some members of the underworld army with the help of the forces of nature. Over here, Viridi tells us that there is something called the lightning chariot that goes very fast. It can break the shield in Palutena's temple. That thing on a base in space. Yes, this is the 3rd time we've gone to space in this game. Viridi puts Pit inside this cannon to shoot him into space, like an angry bird. When Pit arrives in space, we see the lightning chariot and it goes really fast. It creates a portal, and thankfully we're able to enter it, and there we follow it and we see the base of the lightning chariot. That is this really big tower. Then Viridi leaves us there so that we can go to the top of the tower. And this is a really long level actually. Nothing wrong with that because this is an absolute masterpiece of a game. Well, this level has a path that goes up and we enter different rooms of the tower. The Chariot Master is forcing us to go to the top and we have to fight him for the chariot. The rooms have interesting things like bowling some of the vehicles of the god, wind. In one of them, Hades reveals that he knew that Pit's soul was trapped in a ring and that everything that happened to Palutena is his fault. And also this one labyrinth. When we get to the top of the tower, we find the Chariot Master and he's challenging us to a battle. He leaves us with Foss being one of the chariot unicorns, and the Master has the other unicorn being Lux. In this battle, we are riding and shooting at the Master, and I'm going to tell you one thing that you should do here is that you should attack from in front of the Chariot Master. If you're behind him, the Chariot Master actually has more opportunities to attack you if you're behind him, so it's much better to be in front of him. After that, when we defeat him, the Chariot Master actually dies. But he accepts that Pit is worthy of having the lightning chariot, and the old man disappears. And now, it is time to save Palutena. With the lightning chariot and the 2 unicorns, this is actually how we're going to do the flying section instead of using the power of flight. We use the lightning chariot, and this is actually the origin of Pit's final smash in Smash Ultimate. Here, we are battling against the underworld in space to reach the portal inside. Inside of the portal, Pit asked Viridia what Hades was actually meaning when he said that all this chaos was his fault. And Viridia reveals that the Lunar Sanctum was actually a prison for the Chaos Skin. I mentioned before that when we defeated Arlon, we freed the Chaos Skin. Yes, this thing that escaped here, that right there is the Chaos Skin. And that's actually what's controlling Palutena and making her turn evil. And that's actually what got Palutena to turn Pit's soul into a ring. Anyway, when we arrived to the temple of Palutena, we entered it without a shield to stop it because the lightning chariot destroys it. Oh yeah, and Phosphor also arrives to occupy the lightning chariot for us. Thank you very much. When we are in the level, we fight against Palutena's guards and the underworld army also arrived. When we are here during the fight against the underworld army that came here for some reason and also Palutena's guards, Viridia tells us more about the Chaos Skin and that this thing actually steals souls and takes it to its own dimension, the Chaos Vortex. And it also took advantage of the Arum invasion, and that's how it was able to control Palutena after everyone was absolutely tired after defeating the Arum. After passing through Palutena's defenses, we have come to the battle against Palutena, where the objective is not actually to hurt Palutena. We're actually going to have to shoot the Chaos Skin, and we can see it fly over Palutena, and we can go absolutely crazy on this thing. And remember, no attacking Palutena, only the Chaos Skin. And that is why close range attacks in this battle are not a good idea due to the close distance between Palutena and the Chaos Skin. When we defeat the Chaos Skin, we free Palutena from its control, but suddenly the Chaos Skin comes behind Pit and quite literally stabs Palutena and steals her soul. Seeing the game's story not really taking itself that seriously is something like this is actually a pretty big surprise, and this moment feels very surprising seeing it for the first time. Palutena's voice actress makes it feel very real. And after this, Palutena turns to stone, and the Chaos Skin opens the Chaos Vortex, and Viridia tries to have Pit fly inside, but suddenly Dark Pit arrives with the Lightning Chariot, and opens it up to make it bigger. Oh yeah, and Phosphor is also here to help us with the Lightning Chariot. Thank you very much. And now, it is time to defeat the Chaos Skin. In this chapter, we enter the Chaos Vortex to defeat the Chaos Skin, and we are chasing it in this crazy world with illusions like these hands, copies of the Underworld army with some shadows of Pit, and also the Chaos Skin makes copies of itself to deceive Pit. when we find it in this chase sequence, we shoot it a lot, and eventually the Chaos Skin hits a rock, and we shoot it until it falls into this floating island where the majority of level takes place in this floating island. Over here, we fight 8 rounds of copies of the Underworld Army, copies of the Forces of Nature, and also copies of the Aurum. After fighting 8 rounds of the Chaos copies, Teto arrives to help us here, and it turns out that the two are actually more connected than what it seems. They are 2 sides of the same coin, and Dark Pit cannot actually exist without Pit, so he actually has to help Pit. After the last 5 rounds of enemies, the Chaos Skin appears and tries to escape, but Verity catches it and it's forced to battle Pit and Dark Pit. And also to help us here against the Chaos Skin, Verity sets up some traps to catch it. The battle is very simple, with the Chaos Skin shooting some fireballs and releasing poisonous gases and also trying to charge at us. And with the traps, the battle is not too difficult. When we defeat the Chaos Skin, Palutena's soul returns to her and everything is alright. However, suddenly, with what remains of the Chaos Skin, it grabs Dark Pit, launches itself from the floating island where they are, and then Pit decides to jump off the floating island to try to save Dark Pit, who, if they don't save him, he will quite literally be dead. Verity does want to give him the power of flight because Pit has already used it and would burn. However, she reluctantly does it, and we save Dark Pit. But Pit, after that, has life-changing injuries, and another shocking emotional moment where we see how much Palutena truly does care about Pit's life. And after this, I think she actually feels kind of guilty about what happened to Pit, considering that this whole time Pit has actually been the one always being in dangerous situations. So this might actually be like a moment of remorse. And this is actually a pretty strong moment in the story. In the next chapter, Dark Pit flies to the City of Souls to save Pit, who after what happened to him is almost dead. It turns out that many Reapers are actually here to the excess of souls that are coming here due to all the deaths that are going on. When everyone's souls get here, it's like real life where it's survival of the fittest. One of the things that eats souls is this monster right here that tries to kill Teto, but thankfully we're able to defeat that thing. Oh, and it also turns out that Hades likes the taste of souls. What? After that, we arrive to the City of Souls, and it turns out that the souls can be used to turn them into monsters or make the Underworld Army. If you remembered, when I mentioned that after destroying the Mirror of Truth, the numbers of the Underworld Army were not going down for some reason. Well, it turns out that all the humans that died because of all the conflicts that were going on between Palutena, Verity, Hades, the forces, the reset bombs, all the Hydra, Twin Bellows, the Aurum, which all killed a bunch of humans, Hades is the one profiting most out of this. And from all of this actually is what makes the Underworld Army grow. And this is exactly why he has to be stopped. Because he is the one that is profiting most off of this, and we can put an end to it if we put an end to Hades. Not only that, but it actually takes much more than one soul to create one Underworld Army monster. And this is not okay. So we have to put an end to this. So and then Hades also tries to kill Teto, but we can avoid him and then go to the rewind spring to save Pit. There are consequences to cheating death. Well, when we get to the rewind spring, something comes out of Teto, being Pandora. Pandora wants revenge against Teto for rebelling against her and using his powers to fly. Then we have a battle against Pandora again, where she uses the same strategies, except when we damage her enough, she decides to jump into the rewind spring and reverts into something that looks more human. And also uses elements of a 4, but with also some new powers. And also tries to trick us with her defeat. When we beat Pandora for the second time, we save Pit by healing his wings with the rewind spring. Also, Pitu now can't fly on his own anymore without Pandora's powers. So Verity actually takes him out of there, and Pit is now back, and we are ready to defeat Hades once and for all. We return to the underworld with the 3 sacred treasures to defeat Hades. With the 3 sacred treasures, once again, we are absolutely destroying the underworld army with the power of the arrows of light. When we enter the underworld, it doesn't take long until Hades appears here, and we are about to defeat him for everything that he did. Kill all those people, escalate all those conflicts, all those wars between the gods, invoke a massacre for a fake wish, invoke wars between the humans. We have to defeat him right now. And he destroys the 3 sacred treasures. And then he eats Pit. No, seriously, he eats Pit. Anyway, Pit wakes up and immediately finds the underworld army, but in a disgusting form. And then Hades says that he's going to take Pit out in the natural way. If you know, you know. Hades also blocked the contact that Pit can have with Palutena, so Pit is quite literally on his own without Palutena's help. And he also eats his own army to try to kill Pit. Hades quite literally does not care about life. We also see Verity and the forces of nature attacking Hades. And after seeing that, we find the boss room being Hades' heart that tries to run and also make copies that explode and also are there to confuse us. And there are also some walls, so we also have to always be chasing this thing. When we defeat the heart, it explodes and Pit flies away, but suddenly Pitu arrives with the lightning chariot to save us from here, and Hades is not dead for some reason. Probably because if you're a god, having one of the most important organs is not something that's actually very lethal. I don't know, just a theory. Now in the next chapter, we see something strange. With the underworld army of forces in nature, are the Arum and also Palutena's guards all fighting against us. And they're also collaborating. We had to find Dintos, the god of the forge, for him to make us a new weapon to defeat Hades. Considering that the 3 sacred treasures are destroyed, we need a new weapon to defeat Hades. We enter Dintos' workshop, where it's revealed that all the enemies present are actually creations of him. And we see some weapons here as well. Here, we reach the place where the 3 trials of Dintos begin. And when we complete the 3 trials, he gives us something called the Great Sacred Treasure to defeat Hades. In the first trial, you have to run through the stairs, defeat some enemies, until the doors open for the boss that is behind that door. The bosses in the first trial are the Phoenix, Cragalanche, and the Kraken. The battles are the same as before, and when we defeat the Kraken, we complete the first trial. And we go to the second one, which is a battle against Gal, but this time with Magnus by her side. The other battles before this were actually all creations of Dintos, but this right here is actually the real Magnus, and that's actually the real Gal. When they are defeated, Palutena arrives, and she actually sounds a little strange, and with enough damage, she becomes something disfigured, and we all know that she's an imposter. And we can also attack her without feeling bad. When we defeat the imposter, we complete the second trial, and now we only have 1 trial left. Here Dintos presents us with the Great Sacred Treasure, and here we're gonna have to defeat it, to show Dintos that we truly are worthy of this thing. And in this battle, you can see this machine's absolute power with the speed of its attacks, and this one attack that shoots half the arena and can destroy you in 1 hit. When we defeat the Great Sacred Treasure, Dintos now deems us as worthy of this epic thing. And now, there's only one thing left to do, and that is defeat Hades. In the end, we are now ready to defeat Hades once and for all. And after and end everything that he has done. With the powerful weapon, we are absolutely destroying the underworld army. Palutena is here to support us, and Viridi is also here to support us. And in this battle against Hades, he suddenly appears here, and we are going to defeat him with this absolutely powerful weapon. We are going to win against him, with Hades trying to hit us, but thankfully we're able to dodge his attacks and we shoot him. Hades creates a tornado that we are trapped in, but we escape without a problem. After the tornado, he chases us, but we can go very, very fast, thanks to this powerful weapon. When we shoot him enough, he stops and tries to hit us to the ground, but again, we can dodge that. Suddenly, Hades jumps to leave the underworld, and Pit changes the shape of the Great Treasure to chase Hades, and we shoot different parts of his body that can shoot us, that are all at his legs and also his cape. When we finish off these weapons on his body, Hades shoots Pit with some missiles that hit him, but the Great Sacred Treasure changes shape again. So we can continue this battle, and this time we shoot all the weapons that are firing at us here. When we destroy this thing, we start attacking weapons. Hades grabs Pit and tries to put a drill into the Great Sacred Treasure to kill Pit. Yes, a drill. Like these ones right here. This is the Great Sacred Treasure, and it changes shape once again, and Pit is able to escape and cut off Hades' legs, and he leaves to the overworld. But Pit follows him from here to continue the battle. In this phase, Hades grows a new pair of legs and exposes his weak point of this phase being his stomach. He shoots us some projectiles, and some that we should shoot, and some that we should not. He also shoots some shields at us, but when this phase ends, Hades jumps and he destroys the Great Sacred Treasure. Pit is falling, and we have to get here to survive. When we make it to the ground, Hades is going to launch his most powerful attack at us, but it turns out that there are some signs of life from an entity here that we have to guide to Hades, and it is revealed that it's none other than Medusa, appearing to give a big punch to Hades to help us with this battle, and she is tired of being a servant for Hades and saves us for this brief moment, until Hades decides that she's no longer useful and kills her for the last time. But thanks to her, we have enough time to use this final attack against Hades. Viridi gives us the power of flight, and Palutena charges a cannon that was part of the Great Sacred Treasure, and we are going to use it to shoot Hades, but it has to charge, and we have to dodge Hades' attacks for it to wait for the charge. During the charging of this cannon, we are thinking about everything Hades has done, with the massacre of humans, manipulating Medusa, escalating all of the conflicts between the humans and the gods to his own advantage, to grow the underworld army, trying to kill our friends during this adventure. And when the cannon is all loaded, we fired it once to defeat Hades, once and for all. Anyway, we win the battle against Hades, and Pit is flying over the people, and we can also see Teto with us. Viridi throws some moral dilemmas about whether humans deserve to live, but thankfully she lets us have our happy ending. And in true Masahiro Sakurai fashion, we can shoot the game credits in the end.
What's up, people? So before I end off the video, wow, what a shame that not many people have played Kid Icarus Uprising, because it is such an underrated masterpiece that game is. It is so good, and actually, if you don't know, when I'm recording the outro, I'm actually in Canada. I'm in Montreal right now, so that's pretty cool. Wow, this video has been a long time in the making. I remember I announced that it was gonna be like, this is gonna be my next video. I remember I did that back in August, and like it didn't come out in September. I was like busy. I realized it would take too long to do, so then I made some other videos to get in the weight. And then I made Meet the Zone in a Jaguar 90. I was really busy during that time. But wow, it's finally here, and I think this is genuinely my greatest video, definitely my life's greatest achievement. Wow. And a few final things I want to say on Uprising. What an experience that game is. Wow. Like, wow, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. So like, me personally, I'm like, if they were to ever make a sequel, like, I feel like they could definitely expand on some of the I almost slipped over there. Whoops. If they were to ever make a sequel, I think something they could do, maybe they could expand on some of the lore that has been established in the Palutena's guidance in Smash Bros. Because it's like kind of canon to Kid Icarus. Like if they ever do it, it would be pretty cool. They could have like I know that they established that Dark Pit is actually now with the forces of nature, probably because he can't fly now, so he's actually loyal to Rui now, interestingly. But like, wow, like, I feel like the game is also like full of some amazing characters. Like if I would have to pick a favorite, I could give you my top 5, no particular order. I would say like Pit, Dark Pit, Palutena, Viridi, Hades. Those are like my top 5, no particular order. But like, wow, such a shame that it only has 1 million views and it's stuck on the 3DS. But the truth is, if it never gets out of the 3DS, I feel like this game could have me entertained for a long time, a really long time, because it has a lot of replayability. Like, because with like all the you have like the weapons and all that. You can play some certain chapter with another weapon. You could try to challenge yourself or something like that. I feel like that's pretty cool. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and have a happy new year. Have a Merry Christmas, and let's see what the next year has in store for us.
Subscribe right now and put a like if you want to. Subscribe right now and put a like if you want. Ni no ni no ni. Subscribe right now and put a like if you want to. Subscribe right now and put a like if you want.